I just scrapped about an hour of editing and roughly 2 hours of script writing in my rush to get something out in a timely manner following the Sonic Racing CrossWorlds trailer. Every time I thought the script was done, I'd see more info come out, so instead of doing what I was going to do originally, I'm going to give a general synopsis of what we know so far in order to give an even better assessment and share my thoughts, desires, and dreams and wishes with you guys about the game, not about me. For those that maybe haven't seen the announcement trailer yet, here you go. For those of you that have, skip ahead to this timestamp on screen unless you just want to see it again. Okay, so now that we're all caught up, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. Ever since that original teaser we got last year, the community has been speculating multiple things. The return to the Riders formula, is this a sequel to Team Sonic Racing maybe? Are we going to finally get Extreme Gear again? These questions and more were surprisingly answered pretty bluntly. So here's everything that we know so far, at least that I know so far. For starters, this is not a sequel to TSR. If anything, it's more of an expansion on Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed. God, that is a title. There aren't any confirmed guest characters. You can stay home, Danica Patrick. I hope. Nor are there any characters from other Sega properties as of yet. No, the expansion instead comes from the reintroduction of the transformation capabilities of the vehicle. The classic land, air, and sea terrains are all back, but this time the tracks and abilities are going beyond just what surface you're driving on. This time the tracks themselves, as well as some items, are going to involve changes to space and time, at least according to what I've seen from Sega's postings on social media. I'll get more in depth on the space and time when we get to the gadgets and items. The main draw of the game seems to be the titular crossworlds that players can travel to mid-race, which I think is a super fun concept for a racing game. It sort of makes me think of the whole Rift mechanic that was showcased when the PS5 first launched with the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart game. The lead racer, the person in first place, is able to determine what crossworld the second lap of the 3-lap race takes place in. So you're starting out on the standard stage, the crowd's cheering, there's Sonic memorabilia and posters and shit everywhere. And by lap 2, you're over in the jungle driving underneath fucking dinosaurs. It sounds insane, and I can't wait to get my hands on it, like seriously. The stages, from what I can tell, have lots of alternate pathways and places to get some boosts and tricks off of, adding to the competitive aspects and the replay value. So far, these are the stages we know are for sure in the game. They're divided into 24 main tracks and 15 crossworlds. I think that just means crossworlds are only for that second lap instead of being a stage you can actually go through like at the start. Could be wrong, but that's just what it seems like to me. I think the stage I'm most excited for is Metal Harbor though. Coming in from SA2, I want to see just how many references they have throughout the stage. I know we get to see post-rocket launch. I think you can still see the rocket like shooting up into the air. Some kind of ultra-large half-pipe section where you can get off a bunch of tricks and get a really big boost. I love that. Oh, I'm actually wondering if Dinosaur Jungle is referring to the stage of the same name in Sonic and the Secret Ring. If that is the case, I need a cameo of King Shariar, the Eggman stand-in from the game. It's a must-have. Maybe have him flying like in the background in the sky from the pterodactyl. If you played the game, you know what I'm talking about. And you're cool. Speaking of Eggman though, characters. We've got 23 characters confirmed to be in the base game, with more coming in DLC later on. I think the characters that stood out the most to me were Cream the Rabbit, making her triumphant return since she was absent from TSR for whatever reason. Zaz, the only other Zeddy to grace the series since Sonic Lost World, would have sprung for Xena personally, but whatever. Metal Sonic, Espio the Chameleon, and more likely Charmy as well to round out Team Chaotix. And my personal favorite, Sage Robotnik on the scene with a Giganto cart. I love that attention to detail. It's so nice to see more and more characters making their way onto screens, and in a racing game, it's the perfect place to reintroduce them. Sonic Prime characters are actually confirmed to be coming to the game as well. Not sure if Prime Sonic will make an appearance, because that's just Sonic. I'd expect maybe Rusty Rose, possibly Thorn Rose. Maybe she just rides on the back of Birdie, and when she transforms to the aerial section, Birdie flies. Who knows? I just want them to get creative with it. I am noticing that the trick system seems to have been expanded a little bit more this time around. Back in TSR, the whole card just flipped in whatever direction the player picked, and that was pretty much it. But in the gameplay we've seen so far, characters actually show some expressions and movement during the tricks, which I'm all for. I love seeing their personalities coming through. Using that as a segue, players will be able to trick out and customize their selected vehicles in way more ways than before. Each character will have base stats tied to them, and with each chosen vehicle, parts can be swapped out to make each vehicle drive in a way that suits them. On top of that, decals, textures, and colors can be added onto pretty much any part of the car, including the interiors, allowing every racer to show off their personality and style. See, it was a segue. In addition to vehicles, gadgets are the name of the PvP game. Players can equip gadgets, adding different effects and abilities to each player's pool of capabilities. We know that gadgets can be combined for improved effects too. For example, there's a gadget that gives you some rings every time you bump into another racer, getting you to max rings and top speed faster. That, in combination with getting rings after going through a boost ring, will ensure you're always at tip-top speed. Of course, normal items are still going to be in play too. Boost items, catch-up items, ways to disrupt other players. There's a literal buzzsaw that fucking cuts off half of the enemy player's vehicle. Kind of wonder how that works if the enemy's on an extreme gear instead of a car. Pretty sure there's also an item that maybe sends something through some kind of travel ring or a portal ring or something to disrupt enemy players. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's what I saw. Overall, there seems to be lots of RPG elements added in to really allow players to optimize their builds and learn these tracks to get online and climb through the rankings. I forgot to mention that. Online racing is back. That seems to be the way to unlock more gadget slots as rewards, maybe for moving up through the ranks. Maybe there'll be some cosmetics or some exclusive gadgets too for the high rollers, or for the high rankers. I think as a whole, I'm loving what I'm seeing so far, and I have a feeling that this will take the cake when it comes to Sonic racing games, even surpassing the Sonic Riders duology. It is a duology. The graphics look stunning. Apparently the game's running with Unreal Engine, and everything is super bright and colorful, and it reminds me of the live-action Speed Racer movie. Super saturated colors and neon lights everywhere. Can't wait. But with that said, I just want to get under those neon lights myself. Maybe I can see some of you guys online when the game comes out. Until then, keep hanging in there.